Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Ebro Show, and we are so honored to have a very, very special friend of mine, somebody I consider a friend in the game. I don't get to see her a lot because she's living her life and being amazing. Her name is Nicki Minaj.
How are you, Ibrahim?
We haven't sat down in years.
Right.
But it's been 5 years since the last album.
That's right.
But so much great things have happened for you in that 5 years, outside of music. And I want to try to hear from you on those things, if possible. A lot of that you gave us in the album, too. You let us in.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to start there because the way the album starts, Pink Friday 2, you start with a very emotional song. I feel like I heard you speaking to your son in that song and really sharing some things that you want him to absorb later on. Can you give us more insight on that?
No, you know what? Okay. The first verse, and you're talking about Are You Gone Already? The first one, right?
First right.
The first verse is me speaking to my father. My father just passed. So right after I had the baby, and it was during Corona, and nobody knew what was going on. And so I didn't want to let nannies in my home to be leaving, and I didn't want to let anyone living in my home. And, you know, because with the baby, it was like, we didn't know what was happening. At that time, we had to protect the baby from everything and everyone. So one day, I was rocking the baby in the rocking chair in his room. And I do not normally even have the phone on me when I'm rocking him. Because at that time, I was mad strict, like, oh, the baby's is going to get in my child. Don't put the phone on my child. Like, I was. But anyway, that day, as I'm rocking him, the phone rings. I look down, I see it's my father. I normally would not have picked up. I promise you. I would have said, okay, because I don't like to be on the phone with the baby there. And I'm putting him to sleep. I would have called him back. But anyway, something said, pick up the phone. When I picked up, he was very happy. And he was like, baby, I could come on Monday, because he had been waiting to be able to come to Cali to help me. And I kept on saying, come on out, like, just, you know, like, whatever. So he wasn't really happy. But I knew that when he came to be with us, we were going to be happy. Like, he is an amazing, great Trinidadian chef and just a great person, like one of those party people, like, whatever, lives up the whole house. So anyway, that was Friday. He said he wanted to come on Monday, and we were so happy. I was like, yes, we were going to get help. And then we went to bed, and sometime late while we were all asleep, the phone rang, and it was my mother telling me that my father was in an accident and that she didn't know what was going to happen, and she would call me back. And then everything started spinning, like, literally, because now also I just had my baby. So I'm already, you know, hypersensitive, you know, with everything. So to get that call, and it's the exact replica of a call, no lie. And I'm not going to get too into that either. I had like about 4 or 5 dreams about it, but it was the exact replica of one particular dream I had about this. But the person was saying, such and such, your mom, we're going to call you back and let you know how it went. But this happened, this call now is with my father. And I'm like, wait a minute, I dreamt this. But I remembered in the dream, I didn't get the call back. I didn't remember how it ended. So I opened the album with saying, you never got to meet Papa. He's sweet proper. He keep mama on my toes. So I call my son Papa Bear. Right. So I'm telling my father, you never got to meet Papa. And then I begin to explain the time from my mother first calling me, telling me he was in an accident, to her calling me, telling me that he didn't make it. So I'm like, the waiting, the pacing, the raven, all of this stuff. And then at the end, I'm like, I just believed you'd awaken, a memory in the making. Call me, won't you call me, won't you? Are you gone already? Because I couldn't believe so fast from accident gone.
And y'all was just on the phone.
A few hours earlier, he was the happiest that I had heard him in a long time. So I'm now starting the second verse saying, Dear Onika, don't stress, you're blessed. Today is 12/3/23, which is the actual date I wrote that second verse because I was too emotional to even listen to the freaking first verse to write it. So it sat for months.
Wow.
And then when I start saying, set me free, I'm talking as the inner child. But the last line is what confused a lot of people because I said, you've already made your peace with me. One day you'll have to forgive mommy, but she knows you know too much already. No, I'm talking about my own mother. So the inner child is like, don't come over here telling me, well, we good. We made a peace.
Right.
But you still have to forgive mommy. And then I tell her, but you know, she knows, you know too much already. Because I remember as a kid, I knew way too much. I saw way too much. And then what happens is, I don't know what your relationship is like with your parents, Ebro. But a lot of times what happens is that we grow up in a situation where our parents don't take accountability and they don't realize that that's not okay. Because you can't actually have a healthy relationship without accountability. There's no relationship on earth that works without accountability.
That's right.
So that's what that's about.
I love it.
Thank you.
Would you say that's one of your more personal, emotional records that you've ever made?
Yes.
How scary was that for you to share with us?
So scary. I think a lot, to be honest, I always feel like I have to give my core fans, an update when I come back out with an album. And I think the last two took a lot longer because of the events that took place between the albums. And every time I'm about to put out an album, I have to reconcile in my head the gain, the pros and the cons of sharing this, and why am I sharing this, and how is it going to make me feel? Am I going to be able to listen to this back for the rest of my life? But I always feel I have to start somehow by telling them what has been going on so that they have a perspective, because they don't. A lot of times they're just assuming what they think. I just sit in the house all day and just like have, I don't know, maids and nannies and butlers and shit. You understand? Most people think that. They don't think of me as a human being. And so with my fans, because I have a very different relationship with them and they really do know me, I give them an update. Right. And then they get to be like, oh, okay, well, they can put some things together.
You have, one of the most active, notorious, engaged fan bases in the history of fandom, probably, right? But as you just articulated, you guys have a deep relationship. You care for them. They care for you. You also have always talked to me about caring for hip hop, right? Like you care to be dope. You care to take care of hip hop. You care to contribute to this culture that we've all grown up with and loved so much and provided us jobs,
exactly,
and all type
put food
of shit,
on the table for our
all
children,
that shit,
yes.
Right? And you fought to be dope, right? As well as, like you said, expand your brand beyond just being a rapper, but being an icon and being seen in fashion and being all of the things. Is this a conscious effort, or is this just? Are we always just getting Nicki? Like, is this work, or is this just?
It's Nick. You just getting Nicki when you hear the music. The other stuff is work, and some of it is play. I mean, let's face it. This is my fucking job. I have to have some sort of fun. Like, if it means, making fun of these hoes and like, why the fuck not?
Reminding bitches they're your sons.
Yes, every chance I have. So, I mean, the thing is, I realized though, it's like a movie. They've made me the bad guy, so I've welcomed the challenge. You know why?
Like you said, everybody need a bad guy.
It's because I know I can accept that challenge. None of them can. None of them would be able to do it. So they've made me the bad guy in this movie that we're in.
But you're loved, right? Even if you're the bad, you're appreciated and loved. Do you know that?
By my fans, absolutely, yeah.
But just by hip hop in general, do you think that?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I have never met a person has fixed their lips to say Nicki's not dope.
Okay.
So like that narrative, like I've never, like people might be like, I don't personally listen to her albums, but they know skill-wise. And is that for you as someone who came up in this game and fought to have respect right next to the dudes, right? The only woman that's ever been on a record with Hov and Ye and M and fucking Carrie, right? That's what matters to you. I think that's what matters, has always mattered to you.
Always.
The most.
Always has. Always has mattered to me that whether you knew how I look, whether you knew where I was from, whether you knew if I was a male, female, whatever, all that mattered to me was that are they liking my raps? And somewhere along the line that shifted. And it's everyone's fault. As a whole, as our culture, like why would it's insane to go backwards.